with realestatemarketingallstars.com, and I want to talk to you today about how to engage and educate today's buyers so that your content and your marketing connects with the buyers and resonates with their needs and their wants and their desires. So let me start off by asking you a question. Have you ever invested in a movie or show only to have it end badly or have a terrible plot twist? It kind of ruins a movie for you, like How I Met Your Mother, maybe Lost or Seinfeld, Sopranos, the movie I Am Legend. Now, did the ending or that plot twist, did it ruin the show for you? Did these writers fail to meet your expectation of what should happen? Now, this is exactly how you feel when you experience bad marketing. Your marketing should resonate with your audience's needs and desires and concerns. Your marketing should exceed your client's expectations for what to expect. And it also needs to follow patterns that they find familiar. Now, to truly connect with your audience, the first thing you have to do is understand them. And so that's where we're going to start. Harper Lee, the famous author who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, said, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view." So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to focus on the audience. We're going to focus on what their point of view is so that we really can understand them and we can truly connect to them. Now, understanding your sphere of influence or your past clients is relatively easy because you already know what they like and want. You also know what causes them pain and what to avoid. But how can you do the same for online buyers? How can you understand people that you've never met? How can you attract people that are your ideal clients? Those ones sometimes people like to call, we like to clone our best clients. How can you attract more folks like that? Now, this requires a lot of listening, discernment, and some great market research. Because you really need to find out the who, the what, the where, the why, and how of your audience. And also consider it from their point of view. Consider buying a home and all that goes along with it from their point of view. So the first part I want to talk about is where are today's buyers? And this is exactly why we're focusing on online buyers. As of last year, we found out that 56% of all buyers, their first stop, the first thing they do when they search homes is go to the internet. So why is this first step important? Because most buyers work with the first agent they contact. And with internet usage increasing every year, this is only going to get higher and higher. So can you afford to not be found online? Can you afford your audience to find other agents instead of you? And can you connect with these internet leads, with these buyers who are searching on the internet? Well, I say with the right marketing, with the right content, with the right message, you can connect with and convert online leads. So this is another important question of where are buyers online today? Well, as you can see from this graph, the desktop users are decreasing while the mobile and tablet buyers are definitely increasing. If I go back and look at my statistics for my website, I found out that about half my leads come from mobile devices, whether that's a tablet or a telephone. So the first question you want to think of is, what does your site look like on mobile? Is it designed with responsiveness built into your site? If you have to scroll left or right on your telephone to see your website, to see the whole thing, it's definitely not responsive. And within the next couple of months, Google's going to start penalizing your site on mobile searches if it's not responsive. So wherever your presence is on the web, make sure that it's responsive. Make sure that it looks good on mobile and on tablets. That is very, very important. And so the other side to that is, where are buyers opening their email? So not only in addition to the mobile site, you have to consider the growth of mobile email usage. And it's growing at a drastic rate. 24% per year is the increase on mobile. So are your emails designed with mobile in mind? When somebody opens up one of your emails and looks at it on their phone or on their tablet, what does it look like? Are you using an autoresponder? If so, what do your autoresponder, your drip emails look like on a mobile device? Have you sent yourself a copy of your email marketing so you can take a look at it, so you can decide if you want to change it or if you think it looks okay? And always make sure that you copy yourself and look at your messages on your telephone, because that's the way most people are going to be looking at their email. So you want it to look good, and you want it to be easy to read and easy to find and very clear and consistent. So that's a little bit about why we're focusing on the online. Okay, so let's learn more about today's online buyers and who they are. Now, this information comes from the National Association of Realtors Home Buyer and Selling Profiles for 2013. And I realize the information for 2014 has already come out, but it is virtually identical to what you're going to see today, so I didn't update these slides. Also, I want you to realize this is generalized information that NAR has collected, and it comes from across the nation. So the demographics in your town for your typical buyers, for your ideal clients, may differ. So when you look at demographics for your area, for your ideal clients, market research is going to be very important. And it's going to be imperative that you ask these questions on this slide and the upcoming slides in your market research, not only to yourself when you're doing this, but also to some of your past clients, some of your best clients, and some people that you may even be in the process with right now. One thing I want to point out is that married couples and single females pretty much dominate the online buying process, and they pretty much dominate home buying in general. So don't underestimate the role that women play in decision making. A recent Pew Research Center report shows that women are 50% more likely than men to have the final word in large household purchases. So, like I said before, make sure that the content that you write will appeal to both men and women. Don't underestimate the role of women in decision making. I can't highlight that more. So let's learn something else about who today's online buyers are. First thing I want you to realize is half of them begin their formal home search at least 6 months to a year in advance. So what does this mean to you? Well, it's going to take time to cultivate these leads, to nurture them, and before you finally convert them. It's going to take, on average, 6 months to a year from the time you first contact them till the time that they're actively in a home search process. And as time goes on, buyers are not only taking more time, but they're doing more research. 2 or 3 buyers research prospective agents extensively online prior to working with them. And what we're finding out is that on average, people look at least a minimum of 11 sources of info before making a decision to work with you. So that leads me to challenge you to Google yourself, but not when you're logged in. Google it in incognito mode. so that Google doesn't exactly know who you are, and it's going to give you a truer picture of what you look like online to other people. So Google yourself incognito mode to see how you look to prospective buyers online. This is another important question that we need to answer. Again, this is generalized information, so when we drill down to your area and your market research, you're going to want to make sure that these reasons go with the reasons. You make sure you want to include the reasons that your ideal clients and your market give for why they want to buy. The number one reason, desire to own a home. That tells you a little bit about the motivation of these people and the emotions that they use to buy a home. That tells you there's some pride involved in it. And if you don't understand the buyer's motivation and desire, how are you going to convince them to buy a home? So you've got to dig deeper into these reasons so you can understand and connect to the buyer's emotions that they experience and that drive the home buying process. So desire for a larger home also is a pride issue. Job-related relocation or move, a change in a family situation, a desire to be closer to family, friends, and relatives. All these things should tell you a little bit, give you a hint about what the buyer's emotions are. The next question we want to consider is, what problems do buyers perceive? And why is this important? Because these are their concerns. These are the buyer's pain points. When you address these and answer their concerns without really knowing them, it builds authority and it makes a connection with your client. They feel like that they already know you and that you understand them. It builds a lot of trust. Would you have ever guessed that paperwork was the number 2 concern the buyers considered a difficult step in the home buyer process? How many of you are talking about paperwork in your content and in your counseling with clients and in the email marketing letters that you write? What are other concerns that you think you might uncover when you get down and do your local research? When do buyers experience the problems? Now, this question really isn't covered in NAR research, but I think it is a very important question. So let's think about it for a minute. Of course, they experience problems in the buying process when they're actually buying a home. And what is that problem? The problem is they want to live in a home that they own. So do they experience this problem before they buy it? Yes, they certainly do. And so they'll have some emotions that are tied up in that process of wanting to buy a home but not yet being in there. And will they experience a problem after they buy? Well, hopefully not immediately, but maybe a few years down the road, they've outgrown their home or decide they want to be downsized, or they decide that they want to be in a different community. So they will eventually experience the problem again. So really, although this question sounds unusual, please don't discount it when you're doing your market research, when you're doing your local market research. So where else are buyers affected in the process? These are kind of minor pain points. And how it was addressed by NAR is they listed these as benefits provided by real estate agents that the buyer had highlighted. So 59% of the buyers mentioned that what real estate agents can do is help buyers understand the process. So you should have some content, or maybe a series of content, that explains the buying process from beginning to end. That's one thing for sure that buyers are looking for. And that when you answer those questions, again, it builds authority, it builds trust. It makes, especially when you don't know them, it helps them to feel like you do know them because you are answering questions on things that they're thinking about but they haven't expressed it to you. Other things that you can do to help, like pointing out unnoticed features, negotiating better sales contract terms. These are all minor pain points that the buyers have that you can solve for them. These are services that you provide and clients see them as useful. So you should be mentioning them in your solutions, in your content. What other local pain points are you going to discover in your research? All right, this slide I call it, why can't they solve the problem? Why can't the buyers buy a house on their own? Well, because they need help. They need our help. The first thing they want, this is what buyers want most from agents. They want you to help them find the right home to purchase. So these are the opposite of pain points because they give buyer relief. When you help them find the right home, they get, even before they actually purchase it and move in, they get relief from that. And they are just as important as pain points, and they also need to be included in your content. And in addition to that, you also need to answer the question of why you are the one that you are the right person to solve this problem. Why are you the right agent to help them find the home to purchase? Why are you the right agent to help them negotiate the terms of the sale? If you can address these concerns and give them a reason why you are the best person, why you are the right person, you'll go a long way in helping people to convince them to use your services, to position yourself as an expert, as an authority in your area. So don't forget the why. And also think about what else that you might uncover in your local market research on what buyers want most from real estate agents. This next slide comes from the Houston Association of Realtors survey of buyers. And how have they tried to solve the problem? But the question they really asked was, what steps did you take before you contacted or before you found an agent? Because only 4% of buyers contact the agent as the first step. So they're not actually knocking down our doors and ringing our phones off the hook. And that also means that they've tried to solve the problem on their own first, or they've at least taken a crack at it and failed to solve their problem. So what does this mean to you? This means that these are the places where you're going to find buyers before they found an agent. So therefore, your content should align with these themes so that you can attract these folks before they find another agent, before they find your competition. So what does this mean to you? Finding a neighborhood I would like to live in, that means you need to have a lot of community information on your website. And you need to give them an idea of what it feels like to live in that neighborhood so that they can understand what it means and get a glimpse of that from you. Once again, that positions you as the expert in that area. Secondly, they're looking online to see what they can afford. Things like mortgage calculators, access to lenders, information on lending and loans. Those types of things are helpful to buyers, and those are one of the things they're looking at before they call you. So that's a good place online to put content that aligns with that so that you can connect to them. Pre-qualification, finding the home. They look for homes before they ever contact you. So you want to try to, instead of waiting for your phone to ring, you want to be proactive and feed them information that makes them want you to be the person to contact. So what is life like after solving the problem? These are all questions that you need to ask in your market research that really weren't addressed or identified in the NAR or some of these other studies they look at. So what do your ideal clients value the most? What are their life goals? What are their business goals? What are their family goals? What are their most common objections? Where are their pain points? Where do they need your help? What does their typical day look like? And what do they do for a living? These are all ways that you can connect with buyers by understanding this information and using it in your content, in your marketing, in your letters, so that they feel like you guys are on the same track, you're part of the same team, that you think alike, that you're an expert. When you address all this information, that is what they're going to get from it if it's done properly. That's what the buyers are going to get from it if it's done properly. So your market research should focus on your ideal clients. The ones you want to clone. So by obtaining and understanding this information, you get to truly understand what motivates your best clients. So those are people you want to talk to, not only your current clients, but your past clients. Ask them these questions. Remember back to working with them and see if you can answer some of these questions yourself. You can also send out surveys to the buyers that you've worked with and get information back from them. You can look at state and local realtor associations. A lot of them do these kinds of studies and market research and can provide you valuable information. Another great place where I look is WAV Group. They do a lot of marketing research that may be valuable to you and may help you answer some of these questions or may get answers that you're not getting through your other types of market research. So the more places you look, the more it's closely identified to your ideal clients, the better information you're going to get and the better that you're going to write. So if you want to attract more of the same clients, you're going to have to answer these questions. And when you put them all together, what that's called is the customer persona. Or it's a model or an image of what your best clients look like. So if you want to attract more of those clone clients or more of those ideal clients, you need to write stuff that resonates with them, and you'll attract more of the same. So this is a great way to clone your clients without all that risky experimentation. On the flip side of this, you're also going to want to create a selling avatar, or this is your persona or how you want to be seen to buyers. And I'm going to give you guys this information as an attachment in the group so that you can have access to it and you can see the questions you're going to want to ask yourself and the other members of your team, so that you can have a persona that when you put it out there in your writing, in your content, in your emails, that it's consistent and it's something that buyers are going to see the same thing over time, and it's be something that buyers connect to, and it's going to be something that buyers can relate to and resonate with. So you'll have two sides to this. So the first side is your customer persona, and the second side is your selling avatar, or your selling persona is another name for that. So that's the beginning of understanding your clients. That putting this all together and answering all these questions will, at the end of it, you'll have your personas put together. So the next logical step after this is to talk about the best ways to engage these folks, these ideal clients. And then the third step is, how are we going to turn all this information into content, into emails, into stories that we can use to attract our ideal clients? And so that's going to be step number 3. And we'll address step number 2 in the next video, where we look at tactics of how to engage these ideal clients. And then in the third one, we'll look at how to turn this information into content. All right. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below in the group. If you have any comments about this training, also put them down there. Thanks again. Take care and have a great day.